Hello and welcome to our module on vocabulary to help you get ahead at work. So within this module we've got some different lists of vocabulary that you might find useful to learn for your workplace. And we also have a few quizzes so you can practice some of that vocabulary. In this module sometimes people want to know who it's aimed at, who it's useful for. The vocabulary is particularly useful for people who are maybe moving into a more professional role for the first time. So they're perhaps more in an office environment, or they'll be have a position of more responsibility. Perhaps they're moving into a slightly leader or a management position, and they want to make sure that they're confident with the words and the terminology that they're going to be hearing around them. It's also useful for someone who's perhaps just finishing school, college, university, and going into their first job, and they want to have an idea of what business is all about. Some of the lists will be very useful for people who don't speak English as their first language, particularly the common phrases section. So you might learn some things that you've perhaps not heard of before and that perhaps don't translate very well. So those are the people that I think it would be most useful for to learn. I'll just take you through the different types of vocabulary we have. So first of all, there's financial vocabulary. So this will help you understand things like the difference between net and gross income, and what assets are and what capital is. So these are all things that you may not need to be responsible for in your workplace, but if you hear other people talking about them, it might be useful to have a general understanding of what they mean. Then we come to our technology focused vocabulary. So this is things around IT and technology that you may be using in your workplace and you may not quite understand, or things that you perhaps might use in the future. So it'll help you understand the difference between a PDF and a PNG file. It'll talk you through what assistive technology is, and it'll help you know what a VPN is. So if those are things that you're not very confident with now, have a look at some of that vocabulary. We then have our common words and phrases, and these are things that you might hear people saying all the time in a workplace, but you may not really understand what they are. Some of them may be idioms, so perhaps phrases that don't really have their literal meaning, but that they've just developed over time to mean something else. So to give a ballpark figure would be one thing that you look at in this vocabulary list. So it's all about things that people say, but that perhaps we're not too sure what they mean. Some of those phrases that become a bit cliche, like think outside the box. And that will be particularly useful if English isn't your first language. Although, even if English is your first language, I'm sure there'll be some things that you haven't come across before. And then finally, just some general business vocabulary. So things that will be useful for you as you move through your career and progress within your role. You may find some general words that you may hear every day, such as outsourcing, and some more specific terminologies such as pestle analysis or SWOT analysis. And you may not have come across those before. So I hope that you find this module useful, and I hope that you learn some new vocabulary to help you feel really confident in your workplace. Thank you.